I was halfway through my second cup of coffee when it happened. The office was still quiet, too early for chatter or footsteps, just the low hum of the HVAC and the glow of my monitor. I'd come in early to catch up after being out. 3 days. That's all I'd taken. 3 days to bury my father. Then the notification pinged. A new email from Craig Dawson. Subject line, action required, or now, employment status. I clicked it, thinking maybe it was a routine update. Maybe a form to fill out. Maybe some policy change I'd missed while I was gone. But no, it wasn't that. Clear your desk by end of day. HR will handle your exit paperwork. I blinked, reread the line. Once, twice. It stayed the same. That was it. No warning, no meeting, no thank you for 5 years of service. Just a line of corporate coldness delivered straight to my inbox before sunrise. And then the next line hit even harder. We need people who prioritize their work during critical periods. Critical periods. My father had died on a Sunday night. Heart attack. Sudden. I'd flown home, Monday buried him. Wednesday flew back Thursday. I didn't even take the full bereavement leave I was allowed. Craig had approved it personally, told me to take what you need. Apparently what I needed was too much. I sat there in the dim light, my hand still around my coffee mug, my body motionless except for my heart, which was pounding like I'd just sprinted 10 blocks. But from the outside, I'm sure I looked composed. Bored even. It's a skill I picked up early in corporate life, looking unbothered while being gutted inside. I didn't cry. I didn't swear or slam the desk. I just leaned back slowly in my chair and let the silence settle. That silence said everything. It said you were replaceable. It said you made the mistake of being human. It said your grief was an inconvenience. I opened the email again and took a screenshot. Then I forwarded it to my personal email, just in case. After that, I shut down my computer, stood up, and started packing my things. Methodically, the way you do when you want to feel in control of something, anything, even if it's just the angle at which you wrap a picture frame in newspaper. My cactus was still there, a little crooked in its pot. The team had given it to me last Christmas with a sticky note that said, low maintenance. Just like you. It made me laugh at the time. I wrapped it carefully and set it in the box. Next came the photo our team at the company retreat last fall. All smiles and jackets zipped against the mountain air. I remembered that day so vividly. We had toasted record profits around a bonfire that night. 5 years, gone in 4 paragraphs. The funny part, I had been excited to come in that morning. Not just to work, but to see my team again. To find comfort in the familiar. To get back to something stable, while everything else felt upside down. Instead, I was erasing myself from it all. Around 8:30, the office started to stir. Keycards beeped at the door. Voices. Footsteps. Tanya from accounting spotted me first. Lauren, she said, eyebrows knitting together. What's going on? I didn't sugarcoat it. I've been let go, I said, taping the box shut. What? Why, her voice jumped an octave. For taking approved bereavement leave, apparently. I said it flatly, like I was reciting someone else's story. Like if I said it without emotion, it wouldn't sting so much. Her jaw dropped. That can't be right. Have you talked to Paula, the regional manager? No, I said, and I'm not going to fight it, but I won't forget it either. More people arrived. Jason, Veronica, Ethan. One by one, their expressions shifted from confusion to fury. They didn't need details. They saw the box, the photo, the look on my face, and they knew. This wasn't a restructure. This wasn't a performance issue. This was a hit, a message. I heard someone mutter, "This is bullshit." But I just kept packing. I couldn't afford to lose composure. Not in front of them, not in front of him. Because I knew Craig would show up, and I needed to be ready when he did. Craig showed up right on schedule. I was folding the company hoodie they gave us after the Newbrook merger, the one with the Horizon logo stitched on the sleeve, when I saw his reflection in the glass panel behind me. Arms crossed, lips pressed tight, trying to look composed. But he wasn't expecting everyone to still be standing there. "We need everyone back at their desks," he said sharply. "Now." No one moved. He took a step forward. Now he repeated louder. The air in the room tightened. Then, slowly, reluctantly, they returned to their desks, but they didn't look at him. They looked at me. And I knew that look. That wasn't just loyalty. That was witnessing something wrong and being powerless to stop it. Craig turned to me once the others had scattered. "This could have been handled with more discretion," he muttered. "If you'd waited until the end of the day." I looked him straight in the eye. "Like the discretion you showed when you fired me by email after approving my leave." His jaw twitched. "Business needs change rapidly," he said. "We need people who understand that." "My father died, Craig." "My father?" "His passing was unfortunate, but don't finish that sentence." I said it low even, but I felt my hands shake slightly as I reached for the cactus. Not out of fear, out of restraint. He paused. Adjusted his tie. "Human Resources is expecting you. Please don't make this more difficult than it needs to be." "Don't worry," I said. "I won't make a scene. But remember this moment. You might find it important later." Barbara Kent from HR looked like she didn't want to be in the room either. Her office was too white, too quiet. A cheap motivational poster behind her desk read, "Your only limit is you." She slid the separation paperwork across the desk like it might bite her. "I'm sorry about this, Lauren," she said gently. "And I'm very sorry about your father." "Thank you." The papers were standard 2 weeks of severance, a reminder of my 6-month non-compete and non-disparagement clause. I flipped to the signature page. "Can I ask what happened?" she said, almost hesitant. "I mean, this seems abrupt." I pulled out my phone and showed her the email. She read it silently, then again, and I watched her eyebrows rise with every line. "This is it," she whispered. "Just an email. No performance record, no write-ups. Nothing I said, no meetings, no complaints. Just that." She frowned, reaching for her legal pad. "I need to verify some things with legal. Would you excuse me?" While she stepped out, I stared out the window. From this floor, you could see the river winding through downtown Boise sunlight, catching the surface like shattered glass. I thought about standing in that same river as a kid with my father, both of us in waders, him reminding me to be patient. "The river moves," he used to say, "but the rocks stay steady." Barbara returned 20 minutes later. Her smile was thin now, too professional to be real. "Unfortunately," she said, "Idaho is an at-will employment state. The company is within its rights to terminate employment without cause." "I understand." I signed the papers. I didn't want to fight. I wanted distance. As I reached for my box, Barbara lowered her voice. "Off the record. If you ever decide to pursue this, I'd be willing to provide documentation. What they did, it doesn't feel right." "Thank you," I said. "But I'm not looking to fight them." "Then what will you do?" I didn't answer, because honestly I wasn't sure yet. But I had an idea. When I walked out, my team was silent. I passed each desk one by one, and they didn't pretend to be working. Jason stared at me with clenched fists. Veronica had tears in her eyes. Ethan looked like he might punch a wall. I gave them a small smile, my last act as their leader. Outside, the September sun was warm, too warm for a day that felt this cold. I loaded the box into my trunk and sat in the driver's seat for a while, just breathing. And then the messages started. "Jason, this is wrong. What can we do, Veronica? Are you okay? Can we meet up later? Ethan, Craig's a spineless piece of sheet AT. The team is furious. I hadn't even pulled out of the parking lot, and the fallout had already begun. They weren't just co-workers. They were mine. My team. My professional family. And I had just been ripped out of their lives without warning. I started the car. A plan still unformed began to simmer. That evening, my phone rang. It was Hank Fleming, the CEO of Novatrans Global, Horizon's biggest competitor. We'd met at a logistics summit the year before. He'd been trying to recruit me for months, and I'd always politely declined. But now I picked up. The Novatrans office made Horizon look like a basement startup. Open spaces, natural light, conversations instead of commands. Hank greeted me with a firm handshake and a look that said he already knew. "I've been hoping you'd call," he said, though I didn't expect it would be under these circumstances. News travels fast. He gestured to a conference room. "Walk me through it." I did. I showed him the email. He didn't interrupt, just leaned back in his chair, arms folded, expression hardening. "That's not just cold," he said. "That's inhumane." I nodded. "They said I failed to prioritize work. You were grieving. Apparently not professionally enough." He paused. "I'll be blunt. Novatrans is expanding our Pacific Northwest division. The division director role is open. It's yours if you want it." Just like that. More pay, bigger role. A place where my leadership style might actually matter. What about my non-compete? I asked. Our legal team's already looked at it, he said. It's overly broad. We'd cover legal costs if Horizon tried to fight it. I didn't say yes, not yet. Take the weekend, he said. Let it breathe. That night, I met Jason and Veronica at a quiet bar away from downtown. They were already seated, faces tight with fury. How are you holding up? Veronica asked. I'm all right, I said, more tired than angry. Jason snorted. The office is in chaos. No one knows where the Henderson files are. Craig's acting like everything's fine, but he's sweating. That sounds like a Craig problem, I said, sipping my water. Veronica leaned forward. Everyone's talking, Lauren. Not just our team. People are scared. If they can do this to you. Jason nodded. You were the reason we stuck around. You're the one people trusted. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't used to hearing that out loud. My non-compete's still a concern, I finally said. Even if it's probably unenforceable. They fired you for going to your dad's funeral, Jason said flatly. Screw their paperwork. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. Then Jason's phone buzzed. Emergency meeting tomorrow. Saturday. Craig's panicking. The Wilson account review is due Monday, and nobody can find your notes. They're in the system, I said. He just doesn't understand how to read them. We all laughed. It felt good to laugh. As I stood to leave, Jason caught my eye. If you did go to Nova Trans, hypothetically, would they be hiring? I didn't answer right away, just looked at him. Hypothetically, I said. Yes, they're expanding fast. The look they exchanged told me everything I needed to know. The cracks were spreading. Horizon was bleeding, and they hadn't even realized it yet. Saturday morning felt like limbo. I didn't sleep much. My mind kept replaying that email, the coldness of it, the way it erased me with a single keystroke. My father's voice kept showing up too, not loud, but steady like a current underneath the chaos. The river moves, but the rocks stay steady. He used to say it when I got impatient fishing, studying, working late. I always thought it was just about keeping calm. Now it felt like something else entirely. At 9:00 a.m., I walked into the office of Vincent Torres, an employment lawyer a friend recommended. Clean desk, heavy books, diplomas from Stanford and Georgetown behind him. He shook my hand firmly. Tell me everything, he said. I pulled out the email, showed him the non-compete, walked him through what happened, the leave, the firing, the offer from Novatrans. He read in silence, then leaned back and took off his glasses. This is textbook wrongful termination. I'm not trying to sue, I said quickly. I just want to know if I can work again without ending up in court. He nodded. Understandable. But let me be clear, firing someone for taking approved bereavement leave, that's a potential breach of contract, bad faith, maybe even ADA adjacent if they knew you were emotionally distressed. I just want to move on. Then let's focus on that. He skimmed the non-compete again. 6 months. No employment with any competitor within 300 miles. That's basically telling you to leave the state or the industry. Is it enforceable? In Idaho, he shrugged. Maybe. But given how they let you go, no warning, no cause while on leave, a judge would be skeptical. Especially if you're not poaching clients, just continuing your career. He leaned forward. If Novatrans wants you, and they're willing to back you legally, I'd say go. Don't let a poorly written clause bully you into silence. I nodded. I wasn't just ready, I needed to say yes. Before I left, he handed me a folder. This outlines everything we discussed. Use it if anyone tries to scare you. That night, my phone lit up again. Jason's meeting was a train wreck. Craig snapped at Ethan. Veronica threatened to walk out if he raised his voice again. Gabriella, we can't find the file structure you set up. Clients are asking for things no one else understands. Louise, he actually blamed you in the meeting. Said you didn't document processes clearly enough. I stared at my screen, feeling something cold settle in my chest. I'd spent 5 years making sure everything ran, the clients, the systems, the team. I built order out of chaos. And now that I was gone, the cracks were wide open. And they were trying to pretend like it was my fault. I should have been angry, but I wasn't. I was done being angry. I was done being loyal to people who saw my father's funeral as a performance issue. Sunday night, I called Hank Fleming. I'm in, I told him. Good, he said without hesitation. We'll prep everything for Monday. One condition. Name it. I want to build my own team. If any of my former colleagues apply, I want them seriously considered. You got it, he said. Fair chance for everyone. If they're anything like you, We're lucky to have them. Monday morning, I signed the contract. Division Director, Pacific Northwest Region. Higher pay. Full benefits. A sign-on bonus I didn't even negotiate. They wanted me. And more than that, they trusted me. By 2 p.m., my phone buzzed. 7 emails. Each one from a former team member. Each one a copy of their Novatrans application confirmation. They had already applied. I sat in my new office, clean walls, real plants, not a corporate poster in sight, and stared at those messages. One from each of them. Jason, Veronica, Ethan, Gabriella, Diane, Louise, Kayla. All of them. I hadn't recruited anyone. I hadn't whispered a single word. But they followed anyway. I didn't cry, but I felt something shift. Like a knot in my chest had finally loosened. They still trusted me. They still believed in me. And they were ready to walk away from the only jobs they'd known, not for money, not for revenge, but because they knew what leadership should look like. Because they remembered. Tuesday morning, I sat at a corner table in a quiet coffee shop downtown. Jason arrived first, then Veronica. One by one, they all came. 7 of them. "We're done," Ethan said. "The place is imploding. Craig's micromanaging so hard, people are afraid to send emails without a draft being approved. Paula's trying to clean it up, but it's too late," Louise added. "Too many clients are asking why you're not on their accounts anymore." "They're scared," Diane said. "If they can do this to you, they can do it to anyone." I listened, sipping my coffee slowly. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. Because this wasn't about payback. This was about proof. That I hadn't been wrong. That I had mattered. That what I built wasn't just systems, it was people. Trust. Loyalty. Jason finally asked what they'd all been circling around. "If we leave, can we come with you?" I looked around the table. At every single face. "You all have stable jobs," I said carefully. "Are you sure you want to risk that?" "What stability?" Gabriella asked. "They fired you for attending a funeral. That place isn't stable, it's dangerous." Veronica nodded. "We're not asking for guarantees, just a shot." I reached into my bag, pulled out the Novatrans team onboarding packet I had printed over the weekend. "I can't hire you myself, but I can refer you. And I've already spoken to Hank. He's interested." They looked stunned, and then relieved. They had jumped first, and now they knew they wouldn't hit the ground alone. The next morning, my phone rang. Paula McCormick, Horizon's regional manager. "Lauren," she said. Her voice was tight. "We need to talk." I leaned back in my chair. "What can I do for you, Paula?" "I've received 7 resignations, all from your former team, all effective immediately." There was a pause. "Care to explain?" "I'm not sure what you mean," I said. "I don't work there anymore." "They're all going to Novatrans, where you just started as division director." I didn't respond. This doesn't look coincidental. People make career decisions for lots of reasons. This is about your termination, isn't it? She was quieter now. Not angry, just resigned. "I've reviewed the file," she continued. "Craig didn't consult me before letting you go. I would never have approved it." "Then maybe the issue isn't me," I said. "Maybe it's a leadership culture that punishes grief." There was a long silence. "I'd like to offer you your position back," she said finally. "Plus a 10% raise. A formal apology. I've accepted another offer. We'll match their salary, plus 15%. It's not about the money." "Then what is it about, Lauren? What would it take?" I paused, thought about it, and then I said the truest thing I'd said in weeks. "Time travel." Another silence. "I need to go, Paula," I added. "I start my new job in an hour, and I don't want to be late." She started to bring up the non-compete, but I cut her off. "Feel free to have legal contact my attorney," I said calmly. "Though you might want to remind them how I was fired." Then I hung up, and for the first time since that email, I felt free. By Wednesday, interviews were underway. Each of the 7 sat across from different department heads at Novatrans polished resumes, in hand nerves barely concealed. I didn't hover. I didn't intervene. I just waited. By Friday, I had my answer. Every single one of them was hired. Not because I vouched for them, though I did, but because they earned it. Their track records were solid, their reputations even better. Clients knew them by name. Colleagues respected them. Horizon had been lucky to have them. And now we were all Novatrans. That weekend we met again. This time at Diane's place. She made paella and poured wine, like we hadn't all just escaped a corporate inferno. We laughed. We talked shop. But underneath the food and stories, there was something else: relief. We were finally breathing again. I didn't realize how tense I was at Horizon, Ethan said. Until I left. Veronica nodded. It's like we were all holding our breath. Jason lifted his glass. To Lauren for pulling the ripcord when the rest of us were still pretending we could land safely. I shook my head. You followed without knowing where you'd land. That's brave. That's loyalty. It's leadership, Kayla said. Real leadership. Monday morning, we walked into Novatrans as a team. Not a team by title, a team by bond. There were no lanyards, no mandatory desk decor, no fake smiles. Just work and space to do it without fear. The first few weeks weren't smooth. New systems, new clients, new culture. We stumbled. We missed a few deadlines. But we learned. Fast. The Pacific Northwest Division had been underperforming for years. Outdated software, high turnover, client churn. But now we had something different. We had cohesion. Every person on my team brought their full weight. Jason reorganized the routing logistics. Veronica streamlined client onboarding. Gabriella created internal workflows we'd never had before. Diane, who'd always been quiet, stepped up to train junior hires and became their favorite person on day one. We weren't just rebuilding. We were rewriting. About a month in, Hank stopped by my office. I don't say this often, he said, folding his arms in the doorway. But I underestimated you. I raised an eyebrow. That a compliment or a warning? A compliment, he laughed. Your division has the highest internal satisfaction score in the company. Clients are sending unsolicited praise. And I haven't heard a single HR complaint from your floor. We still have a lot of work to do. And that's exactly why you're the one leading it. He paused. Also, just FYI, Horizon lost the Hernandez contract this morning, 20% of their PNW revenue gone. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Not that we're keeping score, he added with a wink. But of course we were. 2 months in, I started noticing something small, but significant. My team was changing. Not their work, their posture, their tone, their laughter. They were opening up. Kayla, who used to panic over minor feedback, now came to me with solutions before I even saw the problems. Ethan cracked dry jokes in meetings. Veronica was leading entire client negotiations without looking back at me once. They didn't need a protector anymore. They had become owners of their work, and it showed. I hadn't just helped them escape something toxic. I had helped them become something new. Then came the cactus. A small package arrived at my desk, no return address. I opened it carefully. There it was, slightly bigger, still scrappy, still leaning a bit to the left. My old desk cactus. The one Tanya had given me. Taped to the pot was a yellow post-it note. Rescued this from your office. Thought you might want it back. Horizon closes next week. Barbara K. I sat with it for a long time. One hand resting lightly on the rim. It had survived, just like I had. I placed it on my window ledge, where the morning light hit strongest. Where it could grow again. A few days later, I got a message from Paula McCormick. She wanted to meet for lunch. I almost said no. But curiosity got the better of me. We met at a quiet restaurant that overlooked the Boise River. It was bright outside, the water sparkling like broken glass. She looked different, softer. The stress lines around her eyes were fading. Thank you for agreeing to this, she said as we sat. I nodded. I wanted to apologize, she said, properly. You weren't the one who fired me. No. But I created the system that allowed it to happen. She stirred her iced tea. After you left, everything unraveled. The board brought in consultants. The report? She shook her head. They found negligence in how we handled time-off policies, employee retention, conflict management. You weren't the only one. Just the most visible. I didn't say anything. Horizon's being acquired, she continued. Meridian Shipping. They're buying what's left. Client lists, warehouses, not much else. I wasn't surprised. What about Craig? Unemployed. His reputation's shot. Word spread. I hadn't told anyone what he did. But I also hadn't protected him. I've left too, she added. I'm consulting now, helping companies avoid the same mistakes. Good, I said. She hesitated. Can I ask you something? Sure. Was it worth it walking away quietly? Not fighting, not posting. I thought about my team, about our Friday lunches, about the clients that asked for us by name, about the cactus. Yes, I said, because I didn't walk away to lose. I walked away to win differently. She nodded slowly. That's what scares them the most, she said quietly. Not the ones who scream, the ones who outgrow them. 3 months after I started at Novatrans, our division posted record numbers. 30% revenue growth. 4 major client acquisitions. 3 of them ex-Horizon accounts. Jason now led his own team. Veronica was spearheading an international partnership. Everyone had been promoted. They weren't following me anymore. They were leading. We had built something better. Not just faster or leaner, but stronger, kinder, smarter, resilient. And we weren't done. One Friday afternoon, the team surprised me with a cake. It had Happy Independence Day scrawled in purple icing. It's been exactly 3 months, Jason said, since we all jumped ship. You're ridiculous, I laughed. But happy, Veronica added. I looked around, every face beaming. I had lost a job, a title, a desk, and I had gained something so much more lasting: respect, loyalty, and a team that chose me, not because they had to, but because they believed in what we could build. I looked out at the river again that evening. The current rushed past, fast, loud, relentless, but the rocks remained, just like my father said they would. 1 year. That's how long it had been since Craig's email landed in my inbox and flipped my world upside down. 1 year since I walked into the office early, thinking I'd spend the day catching up, only to be told I no longer belonged. And now I was standing at the front of Novatrans Global's largest conference room, presenting our division's quarterly performance to the executive board. Behind me, the screen displayed the numbers. No spin, no embellishment, just facts. 30% division growth, 4 major client acquisitions, 3 high-profile defections from Horizon, 22% operational cost reduction, highest employee satisfaction scores across all regions. I finished my presentation and took a small step back. Silence, the good kind. Then Hank spoke. Exceptional work, Lauren. You and your team have exceeded every projection. I nodded, glancing briefly at the group seated behind the glass. Jason, Veronica, Diane, Ethan, Gabriella, Kayla, Louise. Still with me, still thriving. I can't take full credit, I said. My team deserves it. They built this. Hank smiled. And you built them. That's the difference. Back in my office, I found them waiting. All 7, huddled around my desk with a cake again. This time it said, to the best damn mistake Horizon ever made. I laughed out loud. You're never letting this go, are you? Never, Jason said. It's tradition now. You're ridiculous. But successful, Veronica added with a wink. They had grown so much. All of them. Jason had taken over as lead on our regional expansion. Veronica had been nominated for a National Client Relationship Award. Diane was mentoring 2 new hires and had just launched a training curriculum. Even Ethan, once the quietest among us, had started presenting in client briefings with a calm confidence that made people listen. They weren't just better at their jobs. They were becoming something Horizon never allowed visible. Respected. Whole. And me, I'd just been promoted to Executive Vice President of Operations for the entire Northwest region. On paper, it looked like a career leap, but it didn't feel like a victory lap. It felt like home. That afternoon, a news alert popped up on my phone. Horizon Freight Solutions finalizes asset sale to Meridian Shipping. I clicked the link, skimmed the article. Warehouses, trucks, client lists, all absorbed at a fraction of the company's original valuation. The article made no mention of the mass resignation, of the shift in client loyalty, of the former team now helming their competition. But I knew. We all did. The company hadn't failed because we left. It had failed because it stopped deserving us. 2 days later, my assistant buzzed me. Call from Barbara Kent. Says it's personal. Barbara, HR. The one person at Horizon who had looked me in the eye that day. The one who slipped me the cactus. The one who said this isn't right when no one else would. I picked up. I wasn't sure if you'd take my call, she said. I wasn't sure either. I heard the news, she said. Congratulations. You earned it. Thank you. A pause. Dan's been blacklisted, she said, skipping formalities. No one's hiring him. Word got around. Some of your old clients talked. I didn't spread anything I said. I know, she replied. That's why it worked. Another pause. I'm glad it turned out this way for you. I am too. Before she hung up, she said one last thing. You weren't just the best leader we had. You were the one that made the others look in the mirror. That's what scared them. Months passed. We kept growing, expanding, innovating. I stopped checking Horizon's updates. There were none left. But one invitation did catch me off guard. Lunch. From Paula McCormick. I met her at the same Riverside Cafe, where we'd last spoken. She looked different again, not just lighter, but clearer. Like someone who had finally stopped fighting the wrong fight. "I've started consulting full-time," she said. "Organizational culture, leadership accountability, employee well-being. You'd be surprised how many companies are scared of becoming the next horizon." "Not surprised at all," I said. She smiled. "I owe you," she added. "That audit we commissioned, it changed how I see everything. It made me realize that what happened to you wasn't a one-off. It was a blueprint of how systems fail when people stop asking questions." I nodded. Sometimes it takes watching it burn down to see where it was already broken. As we wrapped up, she looked at me seriously. Was it really worth it, walking away instead of fighting? I thought about the offers I could have taken, the lawsuits I didn't file, the emails I never leaked. I thought about my team, the cactus, my father, and the silence I chose not as weakness but as strategy. "Yes," I said, "because I didn't walk away to escape them. I walked away to outgrow them." She let that sit for a moment, then said, "Would you speak at a leadership conference I'm organizing? Only if they're ready to hear the truth." "They will be." On the anniversary of my termination, I did something small. I drove out to the Boise River, to the same spot where my father used to take me fishing. The current was fast that day, the water high, but the rocks stood steady as always. I sat down on the bank, cactus in hand, still alive, still leaning, still growing. "You were right, Dad," I whispered. The river moved, but I didn't. For a long time, I just watched the water pass. No rage, no sorrow, just peace. And something else too, a strange quiet power that comes from having nothing left to prove. I didn't burn it all down. I just built something better and let time take care of the rest. They fired me for grieving, tried to erase 5 years with one cold email, but I didn't fight them with rage. I didn't scream. I stayed steady like my father taught me, and let the river carry their choices where they belonged. 1 year later, they're gone. And I'm exactly where I was meant to be. Not because I burned it all down, but because I built something stronger in its place. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud, it's thriving so fully they can't even find the pieces they broke.